coming on. The question that we have to answer when we look at that is, why is Satan released? I wouldn't do that. I don't make the decision. He's released to go out and give a test to all those who were born in the millennial kingdom. They had experienced 1,000 years. Now, depending upon when they're born, it could be less. But some have experienced nearly 1,000 years of righteous rule, of justice, of peace, of perfection. And what happens? Satan goes out, and this is to me the biggest puzzling verse in all the Bible. After sitting and viewing a perfect kingdom for up to 1,000 years, he goes out and he says, you don't have to live in that kingdom. You can join me to destroy that kingdom, and we'll make our own. And what does the scripture say? That there's a multitude that cannot be numbered like the sand upon the sea that agrees with him. Unbelievable. No words to say that. I'll conclude with this. We were yesterday on the northern side of the old city. Who lived there? What was there? Antonio's fortress. That's where the Romans were. That's where the non-Jews were. But the Jewish community, where we were just there, in the city of David, and over time, as we get closer to the Second Temple period and leading up to 70 AD, the city grew up around. And hopefully we'll have time today. We'll go by. We won't be able to enter, but we'll do maybe a brief teaching near that place. Tito and I spoke about the Herodian neighborhood. And this is a priestly compound. And it's very important. Let me just simply say that many times people will tell you, you know, look at these homes. I was walking by and a guide was speaking, and he happened to be an Arab guide, and he was speaking. And what I don't like are half-truths. What was he saying? These are Arab homes. And what happened in 67 when Israel regained the old city? What did they do? They threw all the Arabs out. But they were Arabs living in there. Why did the Jewish people throw them out? Is that nice? Is that fair? He says, there you have it. That's the problem with Israel. What doesn't he tell them? Well, from 1948 to 1967, that's true. Arabs were living there. But before 1948, that was the Jewish quarter. He doesn't tell you that when the enemy, they stayed in, or they became in control of the old city and the Jewish quarter, they threw out the Jewish people. So it's very, very distressing when people only tell half the story and mislead you. And that's what we don't want to do. We want to be people to know the truth and respond to the truth. So just remember, north side, Antonio's fortress, where we were yesterday, and the southern side, this is primarily the Jewish side. Going down to where we were just a few minutes ago at the Birkat Shiloach, at the pool of sending. Okay? He's taking his break. Any questions or comments? All the people that God left among the nations. He's going to leave a remnant. This is before the millennial. Well, this is during the millennial kingdom, those. There's going to be, it says in Zechariah 14 specifically, there is going to be a remnant among the nations that came up to Jerusalem for war that's not going to be destroyed. Now, most scholars believe, Christian scholars believe, it's because they're going to witness these things and have a change of heart. So it's going to be those individuals and Israel that's also going to have a change of heart at that time, that are going to be the citizens, the inhabitants of the millennial kingdom. What are we doing? Ruling and reigning, supervising over that, correct? Any other? Gary. Well, here again, when you say we, are you talking about believers today? Yeah, no, because we're going to receive that new body. And that new body, remember what we talked about yesterday? This was always God's desire, to put us in a condition where we would know His will, the fear of the Lord will be upon us. We will always know His will, and we won't have the capacity to sin. That's what God offered Israel at Mount Sinai and was rejected. So during the rapture, no, you are not, from the rapture on, for eternity, in that new body, no believer will have the capacity to sin. This is not the case with those that are saved after the rapture, that will be in the millennial kingdom that makes up the leadership, Israel, and the nations who are the citizens. Well, it talks about one of the parables in Matthew 25 is, depending upon how faithful you are, Thomasina, you're going to have more authority or less authority. So it seems to me that with that authority that we're ruling and reigning with Messiah, the scripture says where He is, we will be for when? Always. So if He's here, I believe we're going to be here as well. But we will be noticeably distinct in these new bodies. We will have an authority that comes from Him. Well, here again, those initial people, we don't know what happens. That was the whole point. It says that the leaves are for the healing of the nations. And it seems to me this implies that they may never get that new body, and they need to demonstrate their faith each month by the leaves. That's an interpretation. Maybe they will get new bodies. It's just never recorded in the scripture. And I said, not everything that's going to do, that God's going to do, we have a verse that says that. But we shouldn't speculate on that. Okay. It's 1:45. We may be getting close to lunch. Maybe.
Maybe. For a change.